You go from the Toronto Raptors being one win away from an NBA championship to the Toronto Blue Jays who lose 8-2 to the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight. Marcus Stroman wasn't very good. I love my man Stroman, but he wasn't very good today. He went 5 2/3, got 7 hits, 6 runs, couple walks, 4 strikeouts. Picks up the loss, his 8th loss on the year, and his ERA skyrockets a little bit now to 3.31 from like 2.84 or something like that. He had a rough night, did Marcus Stroman. The bullpen didn't really help him out at all, but the offense wasn't there. They have a total of 5 hits in the ball game. Nothing for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He was over with a couple strikeouts. Rough night for Vladdy. And the only really positive you can take from a game like this, Randall Grichuk was 1 for 4 with a run scored. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. was 2 for 4 in the ball game. Good job there. Kevin Biggio 0 for 3 with a walk. The thing I like about Kevin Biggio is he always gives you a grade A quality at bat. On that walk that he had, and I actually watched that one walk that he had, he was down 0-2 and grinded back to get the walk full count. Great job. It was a great at bat by Biggio, and that's what we've learned. We've learned that he has great at bats. Now, Teoscar Hernandez, since being back in the lineup, hasn't been pretty bad. He was 1 for 3 again today. He had a home run. He had a run scored, an RBI obviously on the home run. He's hitting 194, but when he got brought up, he was hitting in the 180s. So it's good to see him slowly starting to get that back together. Maybe that adjustment that he made at the plate is really helping him out. I'm not too sure. But other than that, and Freddie Gallo was 1 for 3. Derek Law in an inning and a third gave up a hit and a run and a walk and a couple strikeouts. Really wasn't very good. And Elvis Luciano in 2 innings gave up 2 hits, 1 run. Didn't walk a batter, so that's good to see from him. And struck out a couple batters, so it's a good job by Luciano in his inning. But other than that, not a very good performance all around by the Jays. No errors in the ball game, but just not a very good game. You didn't get very good pitching. You didn't get any timely hitting. You didn't really get any hitting whatsoever. And you kind of just turn your focus to tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, 3:07 first pitch at Rogers Center. The Jays got the Diamondbacks in game 2 of the 3-game set. Zach Greinke having a real good season there for the Diamondbacks. And Aaron Sanchez on the mound for the Blue Jays in game 2 of the 3-game series in that one. And tomorrow, you really just, look, with the Dome, well, I don't know what the weather's going to be like, but if it's open again tomorrow, it's weekend ball. It should be a few more people in the stands at least, because the Raptors aren't playing there tomorrow. This team's got to show some fight. I mean, look, what people actually pay to watch that 8-2 loss today, and I feel bad for those people. It's embarrassing to go out there and watch this team basically crumble and die and show no type of effort whatsoever. It's awful to see. It really is. Now, speaking of awful efforts, and the minor leagues, there's not many awful efforts from the Toronto Blue Jays minor league clubs. The Buffalo Bisons played today, and Anthony Alford, after going 3 for 3 yesterday, goes 2 for 4 again today. That average, once again, I'll mention it. He was hitting the 170, 180s like a few weeks ago, and he's now hitting 232. Again, 2 for 4 in the ball game there today. Good job down there for him. And on the mound, Sean Reed-Foley, who has had a horrendous season down there in AAA Buffalo, put a really good start together today. 7 innings of 2-hit ball, walked 2, didn't give up a run, and struck out 6. He was awesome, was Sean Reed-Foley in his 7 strong innings. And for a guy like Anthony Alford, the outfield for the Toronto Blue Jays is kind of all over the place right now, with Hernandez playing center field, and Grichuk's more or less in right, and Gurriel being left is kind of like... they're testing it, right? They're testing Gurriel to kind of see what he can do out there in left field. But for Anthony Alford, look, if you can swing the bat, my man, we know you can run. We know he's got speed. We know he's a pretty good glove. If he can find his bat consistently, he'll find his way up with the Toronto Blue Jays and playing every day if he can find a way to swing that bat consistently. And he has as of late for the Buffalo Bisons. We move down to the New Hampshire Fisher Cats, who did they lose today? I think they got crushed 14-5 today. And Patrick Murphy, a guy who's been a really good bright spot for the New Hampshire Fisher Cats down there in AA, had a rough outing. He had an awful outing down there in AA today. He went 2 1/3, he went 5 hits, 5 runs, only 3 were earned, but he walked 3 guys. He had a rough outing, did Patrick Murphy. And offensively, not a whole lot. Forrest Wall was 0 for 4. Riley Adams was 0 for 4. And Kevin Smith was 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. And Chad Spanberger, who, like I talked about in the last video, who's actually swinging the bat well lately, was 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored today. He's now hitting .212 on the season. Again, very, very, not the greatest. But again, very small sample size, right? Loving what we're seeing from Chad Spanberger as of late. And in the lower half of the minor leagues, down there in Dunedin and in Lansing, ooh, there are some positive things for Blue Jay fans to look at. We're going to go down to the Dunedin Blue Jays right here. And yeah, Cal Stevenson, he was 0 for 3, but he walked twice and scored a run. And Bo Bichette, oh, it's good to hear that name again. I guess he's in his little bit of a rehab stint with the Dunedin Blue Jays. He had 3 at-bats. He was 0 for 1 with a strikeout, but he walked twice in that game today. And Beck Christopher came in to pinch hit for him. He was 1 for 2 in the ball game. And great things, Logan Warmoth. He actually dropped down to the 7th spot in the lineup with Bo Bichette going into the lineup today. He was 3 for 4 with a run scored. He's hitting .290. Is Logan Warmoth. Blue Jays first round pick of a few years ago. Again, had some injury problems, consistency issues, and really just hasn't been that good. But as of late, again, he's been really good. 3 for 4 again today for the Dunedin Blue Jays. And on the mound, my man that I've been preaching about for a little while, Maximo Castillo, who's been great for the Dunedin Blue Jays with 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, did not walk a batter, and struck out 6. ERA of 2.83 for Maximo Castillo. Again, remember this guy's only 20 or 21 years old. They're in Dunedin. Would not surprise me if he continues at this pace that he ends the year with New Hampshire Fisher Cats there in AA. All right, now let's go down to the Lansing Lugnuts. Might be a little bit of a shorter video because the Jays absolutely bombed it today, and I didn't want to talk a lot about them today. There really wasn't a whole lot of good stuff going on there for the actual Toronto Blue Jays. And in Lansing, Griffin Conine continues to rake. He was 2 for 3 with 2 walks and a run scored today. He's hitting .471. It would not surprise me if in the very near future he is called up to Dunedin there, because he is absolutely dominating down there in Lansing. 2 for 3, like I said again today, with a couple walks as well. He was awesome. And Blue Jays draft pick last year, Sean Weimer, I think he was at like a top 6 round pick. It wasn't like, or was he top 6? Anyway, at least top 10. He's had an awful season down there in Lansing, but he put a pretty good performance there today. 6 2/3, 6 hits, 2 runs, walked twice and scored and had a couple strikeouts. So a positive thing for him, but even with that pretty good performance today, his ERA is still 7.57, so really not very good for Sean Weimer. But for the Blue Jays, look, the Jays themselves sucked today. They really did. But the minor leagues, there's a lot of positives. Bo Bichette's back in his rehab stuff. You're seeing Conine tear it up. You're seeing, you're seeing some really good pitching stuff going on with the minor leagues. You're seeing Logan Warmoth starting to hit the ball really well. You're seeing a lot of positives from the Jays minor league system, and you gotta find the fine lines between the Jays big league club sucking and the minor league players doing really well. All right, so with that being a shorter of a video, guys, you know what, that is going to do it for this one. You guys enjoyed the video, and you guys did not enjoy the game today, but you enjoyed hearing about and you enjoy the sounds, I guess, of these young players. And I do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below your thoughts on the game, your thoughts on the video, your thoughts on the minor leagues that I mentioned, and if there's anybody that I haven't mentioned that has caught your eye, please do so in the comments below, guys. Please do so, because it's a lot of fun talking about these young players, because really the big league club once again sucks. All right, and Evan and I will talk to his podcast edition sometime next week. If you guys did not see that, we uploaded today's episode of the podcast. All right, so links are in the description for the podcast channel and for the podcast itself on iTunes. Twitter is also down below. Guys, follow up, send me a DM, guys. Do all that great stuff. And check out my main man, Mo Buckets, on Twitter, Blue Jays Wave on Instagram. Once again, great guy, great content, and just a fantastic guy. We hope to have him on the podcast very soon, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to talk to him about the Blue Jays, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun talking about the Blue Jays throughout the summer when the Raptors and Leafs are kind of in that lull period. All right, so check them out, guys. Once again, Blue Jays Wave on Instagram. And I will talk to you guys Raptors edition, Game 5 of the NBA Finals on Monday night as the Raptors look to close out the series and win their first ever NBA championship. It's going to be at Scotiabank Arena at 9 o'clock. The city of Toronto, the country of Canada, is going to be absolutely going bananas. It is going to be one heck of a ball game, and please win that game, Toronto. I do not want to go back to Golden State for Game 6. All right, 9 o'clock tip-off there at Scotiabank Arena. And as for the Toronto Blue Jays, they take on the Diamondbacks in Game 2 of the 3-game set at Rogers Center. 3:07 first pitch there tomorrow afternoon. Zach Greinke, Aaron Sanchez is the pitching matchup. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you guys then.